Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 4, Episode 8, the Season 4 finale of Amazon Prime's The Boys, currently titled Season 4 Finale. But prior to last week's assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, this episode was actually called Assassination Run. Isn't that kind of wild? Like, not even kind of, isn't that extremely wild? Like, this show has always had political satire, it's always poked fun at the far right. But this season's really leaned into that. And then on the same week as they have a finale scheduled to run called Assassination Run, an attempt takes place on the very candidate that they make fun of. Like, what are the odds of that? Like, art reflecting real life, right? But, and that's why we have that disclaimer at the beginning of the episode about connections to recent events. Man, what are the odds? Anyway, real quick before I get into talking about this episode, I want to apologize for not posting videos for episodes 6 and 7, but the reason for that kind of segues well into discussing this episode, and it's simply that the show doesn't motivate me to post. And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy this show quite a bit. It's a good watch, it's a fun watch. It's just not really well suited to what I try to do here. Like, I like to talk about shows in a bit deeper of a way, rather than like, was the violence in this episode cool, or did Deep fucking aquatic animal this week? Like, I like to discuss things a little bit more complex than that. And then these episodes have been dropping like after Presumed Innocent and Dark Matter up until recently, but before Mayor of Kingstown and House of the Dragon. And all four of those shows, like, they're not necessarily better than this one, but they all are better to discuss in videos than this one has been. So, I haven't been as motivated. Like, it's a fine show. It's just not one that really is meant for the kind of videos that I like to do. And I think that speaks to the fundamental flaw in this show, at least for me anyway. If we get desensitized to the violence or the sex, or just no longer find it creatively stimulating because they can't keep shocking us because we're so used to it, the rest of the show better be real fucking tight, and it's not. However, all that really only speaks to why I wasn't motivated to get videos up for episode 6 and 7. Not my thoughts on the finale. And I thought the finale was actually pretty strong. It was strong in its own regard, and I'll of course get into how, but man, what is it that I always say about finales here? They have two jobs: to appropriately wrap up the current season, and then also to set up the next one if there is going to be one. And I'm not sure I've seen a show do a better job of setting up the next season than this show did just now. Like, I'm more excited for next season than I've ever been for this show prior to today. Like, Homelander and the Supes are essentially running an authoritative regime. The boys have all been separated, but then also captured. Sister Sage set up that this was just stage 1 of a plan of hers, and we know she likes to keep plans close to the chest. A-Train is still a known mole. Annie escaped, but all hope lies right now with Butcher and that virus. And then you got Ashley. She just injected herself with V. Like, I mean, season 5, which, I mean, don't fuck this up. You gotta call it season V, like the Roman numeral for 5. But it already sounds better than this one on paper. But again, not trying to shit on the show. Like I said, good finale. I just do think the show is suffering from the audience possibly being just too difficult to shock. And I think the show relies pretty heavily on being able to shock you.
I'm gonna sit my swollen clit on your stupid masked face and piss like a skunk. And I just had asparagus.
I'm gonna bite your dick off and cook it. I'm 100% a cannibal.
Yeah, I still have clips that I was gonna use in my video for episode 6. As a matter of fact, I think I actually recorded that video and accidentally deleted it. And that might seem like something like, oh, that shit happens, right? There's a fairly high probability of that. I have nearly 900 videos on this bitch. That is the first time I've ever recorded a video and accidentally deleted it. Anyway, let's get into talking about this episode and what it did well to end this season. And it starts by ignoring a lot of the stuff that I had issues with in the previous 7 episodes. Like, the Frenchie Collins subplot was terrible, and it seems like the show is all but forgotten it. Frenchie turned himself in, Butcher got him out, and we haven't seen or heard about Collins since, and Frenchie's focus the last 2 episodes has been making the virus, so it kind of makes you wonder why they even had that subplot in the first place. And like I said, all season, documented here on the channel, the subplots for him, Kimiko, the Deep, they all feel like, let's give them some scenes because we're paying them. And rather than actually writing good stuff for these characters. This show hasn't killed off any major characters, but if I'm being honest, I wouldn't miss Deep, Frenchie, Kimiko, or even Annie that much if they killed them off. And if you're gonna give them subplots like you did this season, why not kill them off? Like, we didn't need Frenchie this season. Like Kimiko. So they don't do shit with Deep. We're just gonna talk about this. They don't do shit with Deep. He's just comic relief, and not even good comic relief because he only has one joke, which is fucking fish. Like, not complete fucking waste, right? Kimiko's the best character of this group, and ironically, the less that we know about her, the cooler and better that she is. Like, trying to fill in this backstory, it kind of just undermines, like, all the coolness of a virtually invincible, but silent and brutal killer just being sent in to fuck shit up. Like, that's cool. Like, I don't want to hear her backstory, and it's... Again, with you want to fill this character out, but she can't really talk, so it's like you got to do it through uninteresting flashbacks. It's just not working. So this episode, it dispensed with all that stuff that hasn't worked well all season and focused on what has, which is Homelander's attempt to stage a coup. And the things that needed to come into place for this to happen, I think they were materialized really well in this episode. The most important of which being the infiltration of Shapeshifter Annie. The finale was like, this is the last portion of criticism I'm going to have here, but the finale was a mixed bag for Annie's character. For example, again, great job with the infiltrating the group and ultimately ending up in the same room as the president. I thought they did a great job getting us to that point, very plausibly, by the way. And it was fun to kind of like watch her get closer and closer while Huey is largely clueless to what she's doing. But a lot of the stuff about this episode that I didn't like is also intertwined with Annie's subplot. So, hiring a shapeshifter to be the assassin, brilliant. I don't know if it was always meant to be able to clone one of the boys, or if that was just a fortunate audible that they were able to call in that moment when the shapeshifter was able to touch Annie. But it was a brilliant plan when the plan was, at least for the audience, only as simple as using that person to kill Singer. Shapeshifter Annie fucked up though, and she tipped Huey off in a few ways that don't make sense when we see them, but make sense later when Huey explains them. But on the flip side, I wasn't a huge fan of that strategy because they made it clear that he was noticing things that like, oh, that seems odd. But in the moment, it confused me because it made me think that I was supposed to notice what he was noticing. And I was like, did I miss something? Like, why is simply picking up her keys a clue? At least they did have him explain it at the end, so I didn't have to continue to think I'd missed something. But that kind of threw me. I'm like, I talk about these episodes on videos, man. I gotta pay a little bit closer attention, but I don't know what he's talking about, what he's noticing. But I also like the fact that the shapeshifter also takes on the knowledge of the person whose identity they assume. Like when shapeshifter Annie told that story about Annie's grandma, I'm like, oh shit, they get the memories too? Like, Huey's never gonna figure this shit out. And I also liked the unexpected payoff of shapeshifter Annie having deleted all of the dirt that they had on Newman off of the computer, and how this character actually gave Erin Moriarty like a different version of Annie to play. Like, she hasn't been able to do that much lately, or that much that's interesting. So like giving her, the ability to do something different, I thought that was cool. Like the scene where real Annie is chained up and shapeshifter Annie is talking shit about how everybody always thinks that they're the hero of their own story. Like, I thought that was a really good scene for Erin Moriarty specifically getting to play, two different versions of Annie. But at the same time, why did real Annie have to say,
You don't know anything about me or my life.
Do people just throw that stupid fucking line into a script whenever it could possibly be interpreted as fitting? Like, because we just learned that she very fucking literally knows everything about your life. Like, literally, the true definition of the word literally. Not how, like, most of you motherfuckers say it and don't know what it means. You say it all wrong. She literally knows your life because she has your memories. Like, it doesn't get any more clear. It doesn't get any more literal. It doesn't get any more direct. There's no room for interpretation. She literally knows your life. She learned it when she touched you. So why the fuck did that dumbass line end up in the episode? Like, did AI write that? Did AI then also approve the script? Did AI, Aaron Morty, say, fuck it, this makes sense, and deliver that stupid fucking line? Because I can't believe it made it all the way to my ears. I hate when characters do that shit, and it just feels like they're just regurgitating shit. They're like, it feels like this will be the proper time to say that. And it requires very little thought or attention to understand that that line does not fit at all. So, like, that shit, man, that shit drove me crazy, man. But when Shapeshifter Annie started killing motherfuckers in the bunker with the president, man, the one guy that she threw into the filing cabinet that was hit so hard that he bent over it, sick. And then the other person whose head she like drove into that coat hook, sick. Like, sweet fucking kills, man. But then you later you got real Annie kind of like squeezing her hands through those cuffs, and like that felt like that was a kind of a stretch for me to believe. And then later she gets mad at Huey for fucking shapeshifter Annie as if he wasn't the one that was tricked. Like he's supposed to know. So like I said, man, mixed bag for Annie this week. Some really good stuff, and then some really fucking dumb stuff. Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews, where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings, where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD, where you can commission me to watch a show, which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there, since it's the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not gonna lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film, and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. On the plus side, though, once we leave the Annie subplot, I'm out of criticisms. The rest of the episode was really solid, highlighted by Homelander and Sage's plan really coming together. It kicks off in a high gear with Homelander exposing Newman as a soup live on Firecracker's show and giving an example. They did a good job of building up to Homelander kind of being sick of playing by our rules and promoting this idea to Ryan that they are essentially gods, and that thus the rules of Earth and what we think is right or wrong doesn't really fucking matter because it doesn't apply to them. And they really nailed this concept home here when everyone panics about this revelation, the revelation about Newman, and Newman's talking about like, oh, this is terrible, I'm gonna get impeached, I get voted out of office, and Homelander's basically like, so, like, what? Nothing's gonna happen to us, and it's true. Like, if they wanted to take over, which they ultimately do, who's gonna tell them like sorry, Homelander, you have to win a majority vote in the Senate? Like, no one's gonna fucking say that to him. Like impeachment, none of that shit fucking matters if the president can just make your head blow up. So, the only thing that stands between Homelander and complete and total authority is the certification of the electoral vote, which happens, and then the elimination of Singer, which is inevitable, as we know, as that would then make him the target of all suits. If they know they take him out, now we have a suit president. Homelander then has Ashley create a list of all the people at Vought who might have dirt on him, and my immediate thought was like, well, I know Ashley ain't gonna write her own name on that list. A fact which Dee points out later is like, shouldn't Ashley be at the top? And then I love when he's like, what is her last name? Like, oh, nobody knows. I loved in the opening of this scene too, the one where they talk about the list. Homelander drinks Firecracker's breast milk and is like, cilantro? I love that. I also love how he went true Homelander and alienated the fuck out of her to the highest degree for something insignificant like coughing, especially since the coughing is a result of the enlarged heart that she has in order to be able to breastfeed his dumb ass. So, like, yeah, great over-the-top Homelander piece of shit scene. Moving on, like I mentioned at the top, Ashley overhears herself get added to this list, so she ends up taking V. That's what I mentioned at the top. I absolutely love the idea of an Ashley next season that can't fully be bullied. Like Homelander could probably still bully her, but whatever power she gets, she can't be bullied by everybody. She's gonna have some sort of leverage to be able to throw her weight around. And with her personality and with Kobe Menifee as an actress, I'm really excited to see what she does with Ashley next season. Homelander, he threatens Zoe, which prompts Newman to try to cooperate with the boys. She says that she will resign from office altogether if they can help her take out Homelander. When she arrives to help get this plan going, Butcher also arrives, more on him later, and that monster that's been living inside of him that we know has existed but we have not seen fully in action, that Butcher has now willingly accepted, and I guess thus now apparently has control over, it tears Newman to shreds, rips her right apart. Singer is framed for the crime with video from the bunker about how he had a plan to kill Newman anyway, which is technically true. So in steps the Speaker of the House to become president, and then he hands the keys right over to Homelander, and that's where we end the season right there. Essentially, Homelander's in charge, and the Supes are going to be running the world. As for Butcher, on his deathbed, his final plan seems to be to essentially just trap Ryan to prevent him from getting back to Homelander, even though the gentle, fatherly way appeared to be working. If Mallory had truly gave Ryan the option to leave, he likely would have stayed. But once he realized that the plan was like, well, if he doesn't really willingly stay, we're going to trap him, he really wanted out, and it looks like the end result of that is Mallory's death and Butcher willingly succumbing to whatever we want to call that thing that's inside of him. So, yeah, man, really solid finale. Entertaining watch on its own, but I think more so did a great job of setting up Season 5. Looks like Season 5, the final season, Season V, is going to be a great one, an epic one. So let me know what you thought in the comments, and until Season 5, peace.